All right, we're live. The Lemon Cohen report, or like other person on the screen likes to call it the Cohen Lemon report, but we know what it is.
It's always going to be the Lemon Cohen report.
Michael, I have so much to talk to you about. Look, you had been in the middle of the Donald Trump justice
Hurricane,
system storm. Yeah.
typhoon.
Yeah. And so, we'll talk about that because I want to talk about Barack Obama and the administration and what Pam Bondi's doing. But let's talk about the breaking news that's happening right now in Texas. The lawmakers from Texas, or from the state house there, they have moved the Democrats. Many of them have moved to different states. Some of them are here in New York. Some are in Chicago. Some are in Los Angeles for this quorum. You know what I mean? Trying to not vote on gerrymandering the the state. Yeah, their districts there.
Yeah. So I think, Don, it's important, because I think a lot of people are just not fully informed on exactly what's going on. I know that they see it on television, but I think we should sort of spend a minute and break it down in terms of what happened. The way that it works in Texas is, in order to bring something to the floor for a vote, you have to have 2/3 present for a quorum. Well, what 51 Democrats decided to do is to leave the state. Therefore, you don't have the quorum necessary for them to go ahead and to pass their bill, which, of course, again, would gerrymander the entire state into districts that predominantly affect people of color.
Yeah,
That's really what it is.
Trying to disenfranchise people of color.
Correct. And then what ends up happening is the Governor Abbott has now made it clear that if these lawmakers do not immediately come back, return to the Capitol so that they can put forth this vote, he is going to, one, send out the posse for them, two, have them arrested, and three, turn them over to Tom Homan to be deported to El Salvador. I mean, these are the things that are coming out of the mouths of GOP members. And I find it to be, forgetting about stupid, it's unconstitutional, it's illegal, and it's just downright wrong.
It is, but excuse me for that. But when you have lawmakers saying, one Republican lawmaker says he wants the FBI to get involved in this. And when I spoke to a judge said, this is not a federal issue. I'm not sure why they want the FBI to get involved. When I spoke to an attorney, they said that Greg Abbott has no jurisdiction. He has no jurisdiction over any of the other states, anyone outside of his states. And so unless these people decide to return to Texas, then there's nothing that he can do. And even if they're there, what is his basis for arresting them? And I guess he says it's bribery because they believe that J.B. Pritzker, the Chicago governor, is paying for housing and is going to pay their fines. I think they get fined $500 every day. That's somehow bribery. Again, they're saying there's no cause for that either.
Yeah, I mean, well, J.B. Pritzker, who, as you know, is has a massive, the family is massive in terms of hotels. I forget which one is. What is it?
I think it's Marriott.
Marriott. I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, massive. What he did is he's putting them all up on him to stay until this matter is ultimately clear. But I liked how, for example, you have Governor Abbott went on Fox News last night with Sean Hannity and had the balls to go ahead and to make a claim that, this is what Democrats do, that when things get tough, they run. Well, with all due respect there, Sean and
I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
I mean, do I have to remind you that it was just last week that you were afraid of the Epstein files?
Yep.
And so you called you called Congress you to shut down early for the August recess because you didn't want to deal with it. So, before you go ahead and you start throwing stones, be careful.
Yeah. The lawmaker that I mentioned sent up, but yes, that they are. Let me finish this one in the vein of what you're saying. Um, yeah, look, I think there's a double standard, and
You think?
even one of the hosts on Fox News says, "Oh, Barack Obama got involved and told the Democrats to, move away or stay away or whatever." And is this what men do? Do they run and tuck their tails and hide or whatever? And immediately I thought the same thing. What about MAGA Mike Johnson, who,
What about the entire GOP member of the
everyone,
House?
yeah, all of them. So it's
I
such
didn't see
hypocrisy.
any of them, Don, turn around and saying, hey, this is wrong. First
Yeah.
of all, we're not supposed to be, finished with session right now. We also want the release of the Epstein files, unredacted except for the victims. But no, they didn't. They were like, yeah, you know what? MAGA Mike, the president, they all want us to leave so that there cannot be a vote regarding the releasing of the files. And so what did they do? They tucked their they tucked their head between their legs and they kissed their ass goodbye. Adios.
What about that? What I mentioned that there was a lawmaker, Texas Senator John Cornyn is the one who's calling. He says that he has now called on the FBI to be used to find and arrest the quorum breaking Democrats. Why are look? I know that the Democrats are calling on governors around the country to band together, Democratic governors to band together, but I don't know if they're actually calling on any of their colleagues in Washington. They may be speaking up voluntarily for them, but why is a lawmaker getting involved on a federal or on a national level for this? Obviously, because he's licking Donald Trump's boots.
Well, it's more he wants that soundbite within which to get back to the president, and I understand that because that's what the entire group is doing. It's all about ensuring that Donald Trump's wishes are made to come to fruition, plain and simple.
Mm.
Why the FBI? Well, because Cash Patel as well is a loyalist. Let's all just first of all, two things. One, if you like Don, and I'm not so sure I think most of the people that are here are probably coming to listen to me. But if you do like Don, just do me a favor and smash that red heart. In fact, he's got
Hit
his
the
mom
thumbs
there
up.
who's not
Just
wandering this time behind us. So, on behalf of Mrs. Lemon, why don't you just smash those hearts for us? Appreciate it. And that little square, no, not the one that's called Don Lemon. I'm talking about the one that's right next to the heart, the one with the up
gosh.
arrow. Just that's how you share this with your family and your
You're
friends.
doing too much. You're doing too much. You're doing too much. I think people get it. I know that you're jealous of me and my look and my looks and my savoir faire.
Is
Yes,
everywhere.
but follow us on all platforms. It's very important that you do, especially considering what is going on with independent media and what is happening with traditional media. It is really important that you support the folks out here who are trying to tell you the truth without corporate influence. It's really how we stay afloat. So make sure you smash the heart, make sure you hit the thumbs up, and make sure you follow us on all platforms, including social. So now back to this. So, do you think? Well, I had a Congress, excuse me, a representative from Texas this morning who said that she was willing to stay out of her state until December if need be, that she could work from wherever she was, remote work, just like people work from home. And she says there are people willing to do that. Do you think that they will go on and do this? Will it last this long? I believe if I was a lawmaker, I would be prepared to do it because I think that this is a break glass moment in American history, and you have to do what you have to do to save democracy.
Well, I'll say that this move by Governor Abbott, the gerrymandering, again, what they've been successful in doing is using AI technology within which to map out the entire state, house by house, voter by voter. What basically could not have been done 10 years ago because of artificial intelligence and computers and programs and algorithms, they have now been able to, with pretty good certainty, they've been able to map out the state exactly by voter.
Mhm.
Now, this is an unusual move because generally you don't do any redistricting until after the 10-year census, which comes in 2 years from now. But that's not the issue for them. They understand historically that that the party in power generally loses the House, and many a time they lose the Senate as well. Well, it's a razor thin margin. They also know that if Democrats take power in the House, there will be investigations open that they clearly do not want, that they will not be able to legislate the way that they are doing, which is basically with no guardrails at all. So they are doing everything in their power to ensure that they retain power at the expense of the American voter, of the citizen. And that's the part that's wrong. So your point, are they willing to do it? I think they probably are. And I think that's probably the only way that they are going to be successful in stopping the passage of this gerrymander bill that they are working on, which, by the way, has massive, massive implications, D.
Why?
Massive implications. Because it's a great question. Why? Because we're then going to, as Democrats, call upon states like California, even though that they have a bipartisan committee that handles this, but you have states like California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, right? You're talking about states that have governors that are Democrats. And they can do the same exact thing, which is funny because I watched on CNN as this one Republican lawmaker turned around and was attacking the Democratic Party for even mentioning that they would do a thing like that in retaliation.
Yeah. Are you surprised by that? I find now when I watch those, I'm not sure what show it's on, but when I watch all those panel discussions in those shows, I'm like, okay, this is not serious because they're on there just to fight. Um, I do believe that I know that this is important to our democracy. It's important to our society, and we are fighting for democracy. I believe if handled correctly, that this will be good for the Democrats. Now, I think that they are outmanned. I think that they're outgunned. All right. That's just a figure of speech. I think that they are on offense. I mean, on defense. And I often wonder, why are Democrats always on defense? Why aren't they playing offense? Why aren't they
There's
bringing?
an answer for that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know the
you understand what I'm saying. It could be good for them if they handle it properly. People will go, "Oh my God, the Democrats are fighting back. Let's get behind them. Look, they're holding out." Blah 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 blah. But if they don't, they'll be like, "Oh my gosh." But still, right now, I believe that the Republicans have the upper hand unless this you move to of not being able to have a quorum unless this works, unless they hold out until December.
So there is an answer for it. And if you want to hear my answer, please keep smashing those red hearts.
No, I don't want to hear it. All right, see you later. No, go on.
The answer is because as a Democratic Party, we're fractured in our messaging. Every Democrat should be on the same message, which is no different than what the Republicans do. Have you ever noticed that every time, whether it's going to be Pam Bondi, whether it's going to be Kash Patel, Scott Bessent, whether it's going to be Howard Lutnick, whether it's going to be Pete Hegseth, or any of the surrogates that go on television, whether it's Stephen Miller, they all say the identical thing. They all say the exact same thing. They use the same buzzwords. Democrats don't do that. For one, you could have Chuck Schumer talking about Texas. You can have, for example, J.B. Pritzker talking about something else. There's never a cohesive message. And this is the fault of the DNC. If there's one thing that you and I and others who have a microphone can actually instill into somebody like Ken Martin, I was completely ineffective when it came to Jamie Harrison. Find a message. I don't care if it's 3 or 4 or even 5 messages, and frickin' hammer it home every single day. Consumers pay tariffs. Tariffs are taxes, right? Gerrymandering is wrong, right? Your vote counts. Stay on message, for God's sakes, already. And if you do that and you keep hammering it, people will say, holy shit, finally, the Democrats are beginning to fight back. Instead, you got this one getting up there like Hakeem or even Cory Booker slamming their hands down. This is unconstitutional. Fuck you. This is unconstitutional. We all know that, Captain Obvious. This isn't about you. This isn't about another 30 hours worth of speeches on the floor that accomplished nothing. Get out there and fight the fight. Don't fight from outside the ring. Get into the ring, put your hands up, and start fighting like we want you to fight. And that's why Democrats are losing right now. It's why we are losing, because even Democrats don't think that our leaders fight right, that they're not fighting smart, that they're not even fighting at all. That's the problem here. Somebody, and I'm happy for it to be you. I'm happy for me to join you in the fight. You got to get up there and you got to go into these town halls, whether it's blue, red, purple, or a combination of all three. You got to get up there and say, Don, let me ask, when was the last time? How many people here in this audience have gone shopping in the last 72 hours? If you have, stand up, right? Make the fucking audience stand up. And then turn around and say, from those people who are standing up, if your prices have gone down on the items that you're buying, milk, eggs, gasoline, tires, whatever you're buying at the big box store, have you seen prices go down? If you have, please sit down. And I don't suspect anybody's going to sit down because prices have gone up.
Yes.
And to each and every one of you, I have a shirt for you. And the shirt says, consumers pay tariffs.
Yeah.
And hand out fucking shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're thinking. That's when I say, Michael, you're on the offensive, right? You're not on the defense, and they're not thinking that way. Even some people, I don't know. Have you seen Representative Jones? She's the one who's been calling, Abbott a bullshitter and saying Donald Trump is a liar. She's the African American woman, blonde, short, close crop hair. They were saying they didn't even want her to speak. She said, I wasn't supposed to speak, she told me. And I think they're concerned, well, maybe she's not the right representative. We need to have the right person out there. Maybe the leadership needs to be out there, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, Democrats, what are you doing?
You know who they do that to also, my brother?
Yeah.
Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, of course.
By the way, why is it only black women are willing to stand up and fight for our democracy? Right now, I'm joking, right? Because there are others, right? Ocasio-Cortez gets out there and she lays it on the line. There's plenty. But it's predominantly the women that go straight for the jugular. They're not fucking around here anymore. They see legitimately what is happening in our country, and they call it for what it is. But I hate to say it, you're right. The powers that be, they don't want Jones there. They don't want Crockett there. They don't want AOC there. Because
what do they want to lose, Michael?
I don't know. I almost don't know. Sometimes, but you know what they're very good at? You know what Ken Martin is very good at? You know what this administration, this DNC group, you know what they're really good at? Sending you every single day a text message or an email telling you they need money. If we're going to fight this 2026 midterm battle and win, which we must, we need you to send money right now. And every time I listen to one of these alta cockers, these old pishers, right, sitting up there and saying, we need your support. We need to be able to fight this. Fight this. You don't need to fight this with an ad. You need to fight this with your mouth, like Jones is doing, like Crockett's doing, and like so many others are doing. You got to fight with your mouth. You have to go there and hold the hands of the people who are saying to themselves, I just don't see Democrats fighting. No. Hold on. We're here. We hear you. We see you. We feel your pain. We feel your pain at the pump. We feel your pain at the grocery. We feel your pain when you're buying meds, right? You heard that all of a sudden they're going to start tariffing now meds. My migraine medication, right? Do you know if it wasn't for that I have insurance on, it took me forever to get it. I had to go to 3 different neurologists. I've suffered from cluster migraines since I was 5 years old, documented now for over 5 decades. Took me forever to get it. It's
If I
over.
said
Do
that
you
to
know it's
you,
over $100 a pill?
oh my, wait, what?
Over $100 a pill. And that's without insurance. So
And
what's going to happen when mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, they can't afford their insulin? They're going to cut back half dose their insulin so that they could have food on the table or that they could pay their rent? What are we doing as a country? We talk about how we're the greatest. This country's hot. The country's hotter than ever, right? Everybody's told me that. The Crown Prince, the head of Qatar, the United Arab Emiratis, the EU, all of the NATO countries. Everybody says that we're the hottest nation in the entire world in history, and yet we can't even take care of our veterans. We ignore the elderly. How about we ignore the children or youth, the ones where the family can't afford to send them with a meal to school? So now we're going to make them go hungry all day because instead we got to build a fucking nuclear reactor on the moon? I've had it. Somebody needs to speak up. And I elect Don Lemon.
wow. I think you're right. $100 a pill is outrageous with insurance or without insurance. The drug companies already make way too much money. But I will tell you, if I had said that I suffered from anything that was cluster, you would have made fun of me. You would have called me a cluster, you know what? All kinds of, because I know, but I'm not doing that to you. I'm just saying, if the cluster fits, I'm just saying. Yeah.
Own it.
Yeah, I'll own it. I mean, look, obviously, yes. That should be dealt with. But look, what I think, and with all these things, look, obviously the gerrymandering thing, that is a huge issue. And that they're trying to steal, right? They're setting themselves up for the midterms to be winners in the midterms so that Donald Trump doesn't become a lame duck president. I think that they're also concerned about what's coming down the line. You mentioned prices. Prices are not only up, they're going up. I saw a report like places like, Hasbro and others, not just toy companies, but all other companies are raising their prices because of tariffs. And some of them have been just eating the tariffs or absorbing them themselves, and they can no longer do it, including the auto industry. So prices are going to go up. And this economy that Donald Trump and his folks have been touting, it's not real. If you actually look at the metrics, you saw the job numbers. If you look at the facts, none of what they're saying has actually come to fruition. And so I think that people are living on feelings and hopes that things will get better. And that's what the Trump people are putting out there. Let's just put out there and people will believe it, as they did about the economy under Joe Biden versus the economy under Donald Trump first administration. And so I'm concerned that the bottom is going to fall out, and then all of a sudden America is going to be in a place that we are all effing around and finding out, even though we did not vote for this madness.
So here's the crazy part. Give you a tiny bit of a pushback here. It's not that the big box, the big companies have absorbed the tariffs. That's just not accurate. The reason that people aren't feeling the effect of the tariffs is because when Trump gave an additional 60 or 90 days before which the tariffs were going to come into effect, what they did is they started to stock up on all of the stuff that they made determinations are big sellers, right? Now all of a sudden the tariffs they're here, they've kicked in, and so as that supply ends up dissipating and they need to restock, they're restocking with 15, 20, 25, 30, 35% tariffs. They cannot understand. People don't understand. My next door neighbor, when I was growing up, was actually the owner of Wallbounds, which is a supermarket chain here in New York.
You're
Right?
going back. Is Wallbound still around?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
right?
Oh, you're
But it
going
was a
back.
very
You're
big,
old,
it was a
Michael.
very big grocery store chain. And I remember him telling me, do you know what the profit margin is on any specific item in the grocery store on average? 1 penny. 1 penny
With a
per
what?
item. They make about 1 penny per item. But remember, you don't just go in to buy one item. You go in and you buy 100. And then there are thousands or 10,000 people a day that are buying it. That's how it sort of works. It's a penny business. Maybe it's not 1 cent, maybe it's 3 cents or 4 cents. But you're not talking about dollars or tens of dollars. It's just not. It's a penny business that works on volume. Very similar to McDonald's, the Ray Kroc theory. It's all about volume. My point is, this is not what's happening right now, even as it relates to these tariffs. What we're doing is we are losing the stuff that they had bought before. And there's no way in the world that some of these promises that are being made by these various different countries are capable of coming to a reality. For example, the EU, they're not giving $600 billion to the United States, which Trump has made a very bold claim that he gets to determine how it gets invested. Well, you want to invest it? How about invest in our children? Invest in the youth. Give them food.
Hmm. I agree. I agree with you, Michael. Michael Cohen, we'd have to leave it there.
Yeah, there's just honestly, I hate to say it. There's so much that's going on. The chaos. We didn't even touch on the Epstein file. We
I
didn't
know.
even
Well,
touch on
yeah, a lot of
We
this
didn't
is a
even touch
distraction.
on we didn't even touch on now the Russia hoax with Pam Bondi going ahead and actually I think we should spend 1 more minute and at least talk about that.
Okay, if you can, well, you can talk about 1 more minute, but 1 more minute for you is 10 minutes because you like to hear yourself talk. But anyway, so do you think? And now Pam Bondi is saying, grand jury, Justice Department. Now they're saying they want to release these tapes of Ghislaine Maxwell from an interview that Todd Blanche did with her last week. Look, I think there's no evidence there. I think the Obama administration has been very consistent that the Russians did interfere in the election, but they did not change any vote totals or tampered with any voting machines. And
And
Donald
Trump
Trump
was
was,
not and Trump was not
and,
involved.
and he was not involved. And so they said that. But I think that this is all bullshit. But I do believe that they are so desperate to change the narrative that they will indeed go through and try to indict Barack Obama and members of the administration if they could.
Well, first of all, you can't indict Barack Obama.
Well, you could if you impeached him. You could.
Well, you can't impeach post fact a former sitting president. That doesn't
They're
exist.
going to move to do that. But go on. You're
Right.
right. Go on.
On top of that, you also, thanks to Donald Trump and the Supreme Court of the United States, um, President Obama has the same presidential immunity that's conferred upon Donald Trump. So therefore, you could not indict him or charge him with any of those crimes. They will, however, go after people like James Comey and others. And by the way, I think James Comey may have some real serious problems and some real culpability because many people were involved. And I don't think it's just going to find that they're Democrats. I think that you're going to find many of them, the bulk of them could actually be Republicans who just did not want Donald Trump in the race and did everything that they could within which to get him pushed out. And that's where I think that they're looking. That's what I think Trump is trying to uncover with this entire Russia investigation.
Yeah, yeah, but he's not calling out them so much. I mean, now he is because they're telling the truth and they're pissed. But he's not calling out Bill Barr. He's not calling out the folks that except for Comey, he doesn't like Comey. And
Well, he's got no love for Bill Barr either, brother.
Yeah. So I mean, he has no love for them, but I think it's ridiculous. I don't know if they'll have any culpability because I think it's very clear to me what everyone has said, and I think that they have been consistent. And even when I hear conservative media, the Fox Newses of the world, playing the sound bites of Obama administration officials, they're all saying the same thing. Yes, Russia tried to interfere. Russia did interfere. The disinformation is interference, but they did not change any vote totals. They did not compromise any voting machines.
Well,
Donald Trump is
they
the
may,
legitimate president of the United States.
but they may not have been able to effectuate that change. That doesn't mean they didn't try. So it's no different than think of a crime. Attempted robbery is also a crime. You don't have to rob somebody. The attempted robbery is the crime. So the attempt to change or sway the outcome of the election by actions taken by Comey or Barr or many others, that's the part that Pam Bondi is going to be successful on.
Why would they come out with that? And by the way, remember, they said that Hillary Clinton was measuring the drapes in the White House.
Yeah,
So why on earth?
So is Steve Bannon, so are Tucker Carlson right now,
Right
and
now.
many others that are trying to take MAGA over.
But it makes no sense, because if they really wanted to do that or effective, they would have done it in the time that Barack Obama was in office. I believe they had enough time to try to do it. I just don't look. My spidey senses are pretty good. My spidey senses on this, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Donald Trump was elected president the first time. Now, the second time, I don't know about that. I'm just saying, I think that there was some shenanigans going on. And that's it. We'll have to leave it there. Michael, I have to go.
$1
Thanks for
bet.
joining us. I'll see you back. We should probably do more because we have so much to talk about. Michael
Anytime.
Cohen, Don Lemon, the Lemon Cohen Report, here every Tuesday at 3:00, unless Michael has something better to do. Thanks. See you. Bye.
Later, brother.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.